Yeah, like the word that's been used a lot is bizarre. I've been around the game of football my entire life, and I've never seen so many, different momentum swings in just kind of odd ways that occurred in this game. It literally took me, all of Saturday night and Sunday morning, like really studying like just how the flow of the game went. If someone could tell me exactly how the flow went off the top of their head of how the game went, it's pretty amazing that no one probably knows how it went. And you just kind of look at the special teams mishaps. Like you walk off the field and you're like, I thought we didn't play too bad on offense. I thought we did struggle to run the ball. We knew that they are a very talented team. We were going to have our issues up front at times, especially with just all the moving parts on the offensive line. I thought we scored when we needed to at times. Defensively, I thought they held them. They held them to like 3.5 yards per rush. Which is very good for that team. But, the explosive plays kind of came on the pass where they had about 9 yards per play per pass play because of just the explosive, touchdowns that ended up occurring in that game. So, you sit there offensively and defensively and you're like, it wasn't just, catastrophic. I felt like we managed it well. We didn't have any turnovers until like really the end, until the interception occurred where we got into a 2-minute situation where throwing it around a little bit. But, defensively, I thought they played well enough to win the game as well. But where the issues occurred was special teams. Everyone forgets about the very first play of the game where Twyford fielded the ball and actually called a fair catch. Because there's so many other crazy plays that occurred during this game. Seamus just had one of those days, which he's one of the most consistent, guys we've ever had here. And, unfortunately, he had a bad game and he's wearing it pretty hard right now, but he's done a lot of great things for us. There's other ways where we've got to be able to capitalize if he does have a bad game. That was so rare. He had two mishaps on punt, and one of them ended up being a touchdown. But you also look that we blocked one of their kicks for a touchdown, so it's kind of like that was a wash, anyways. You look at who would have ever thought that a blocked field goal could have actually hurt you. Just based off of how it just ended up getting a fresh set of downs. At that point in the game, it was 24-24, and we block a field goal, which there's the momentum going in our direction, and then just the bizarre nature of how that happened, and the film, the review, just no evidence available to overturn it. So it goes 31-24 like that, and then you're kind of playing from behind the rest of the fourth quarter. So again, I give credit to Georgia Southern. They showed up, they played, and they fought, and they've got a ton of talent. Like, they've got a very talented team when you look at it. They got 4 guys that will end up probably playing in the NFL that are going to be in the Reese Senior Bowl, and we knew that going into this game, and it was going to be a tough challenge for us. But the way you look at when we talked to the team on Sunday, it was like, I never questioned their heart and I never questioned their fight, like we talked about all the time. But we talk about minimizing our mistakes, and you look at that game. I thought we made plays. I thought they made plays, but at the end of the day, our mistakes are very catastrophic. And those are tough to overcome. And in order for our program to take the next step, we've got to minimize those. We've got to play clean football, like I've talked about before, and we have to do it at a high level. And especially like when you go into a game like Coastal Carolina, you've got to play clean football across the board. You can't be having turnovers. You got to capitalize on the momentum if you do have a big play. We got to do it consistently for 4 quarters. Coastal is a very tough team, as you guys know. They're a top 25 team in my mind. They've had the unfortunate injury with Grayson McCall. You're hearing he's coming back versus us. Who knows? But the quarterback that they're playing right now has a lot of talent around him. And those guys have been elevating their play offensively. They're number 1 offense in the conference. They're number 1 defense in the conference. They've done a lot of great things. They got good players across the board, and we've got to make sure that we play a clean football game, on both sides of the ball, really all 3 sides of the ball, and make sure that we don't have any catastrophic plays, especially versus this team, because it's a quality team and they'll take advantage of it. So. But again, overall, just bizarre kind of game is, what Brant was saying, and I think we all kind of feel that way too. But we've addressed it again. It's time to line it back up, and we've got 2 more opportunities. We're not playing for a bowl game, but there's pride on the line right here. And I talked to the guys that are putting on the jersey for the last 2 times, that we're still, you have a very lasting impact on this team, and you owe it to us and we owe it to you to put these last 2 games together. And the guys that got more years of eligibility, they've got to develop and they got to go, and the other guys got to leave their jersey in a better spot. And I think these kids had good energy today. Surprisingly, like they always come in and bring it. They're always in a good mood and they're optimistic. And we had a good practice. We got to put another one together, and we got to go play our ass off First Coastal. And I think these kids they're sticking together, and we're gonna go fight this weekend. So, questions.
You mentioned avoiding catastrophic mistakes within the game, and it was a pretty wonky game the way you said it. But what's the key to not put yourself in those situations where a mistake like that does affect the whole game?
Yeah, like it's like you talk about Seamus. You've done that kick a million times. Like probably more than that. And like over the 3 years, he's been the most consistent guy. And it was just kind of he kind of felt a pass rush, or just a rush in general for the punt, and you've got to kick it. He had time, he had the availability to do it. It was unfortunate. And we noticed that he was kind of struggling with that. And it's kind of like he had the case of the yips in a way. And it was just like, all right, we put in Nunez and just let him go from there. But like those are the type of plays that you're not really expecting, because he's been so consistent, and I don't ever put that on him, like he just had a bad game, and that's rare. That's like we've been talking about how great special teams have been for literally forever, for this entire year. Jake Bates, the way he's been playing, even with Seth Keller, very consistent. He ended up missing 1 field goal, but that was a longer situation for him, but we were kind of in that gray area. It's 4th down and like 15 on the 33-yard line. Ended up being a 50-yard field goal, and he just missed that one, but came back and responded with it. Like what I've seen with this team, like it like the ball doesn't bounce their way at times, which just blows my mind. Like the 72-yard touchdown, with the holding penalty. Like we're talking about special teams and all that. You forget about that one, where that was a pretty pivotal moment too. Jeet had a great run, and like my thoughts on holding are, it can go either way. Like I think holding occurs on every single play, and how it goes. And there was a personal foul on Kyle Ergel that I'm still kind of at loss of words for as well. That kind of stalled that drive out, which led to Seamus and his first issue on the punt. So it's like you're kind of sitting there trying to figure out, hey, technique and holding, and we got to keep emphasizing that. And then like these kids are playing hard and they're fighting, and then sometimes there's some things that like, you're just not sure, that's kind of out of your control, but then there's some of those plays that are in our control, and the ones that are in our control, that's what we've got to make sure that we're consistently doing, on a day, like on every play. We have to make sure that we're doing our job at the highest level we possibly can, and it's, like that, you just got to go back to it. You watch the tape, you correct it, and you kind of keep moving on, but like you look at that, like Twyford, never seen that one before. He caught the ball, then he fair catched it, and they blew it dead on the 4-yard line. You go into like, which we've talked about that many times, the blocked field goal. We say that just, if it's past the line of scrimmage, try to scoop and score it, or if it's on their side of the ball, scoop and score. If it goes on our side of the ball, you peter it and you get away from it all. And like unfortunately, we got to teach ball security even more on defensive linemen, to do that. So we had some just odd things happen in that game, and the main thing is we address it like you have to, like you have to talk about that situation, and hopefully we don't repeat these things, and I got a really good staff, and they don't let any of this slide. The special teams is always an interesting meeting on a Sunday, because we do it in this team room where the entire team is in here, so there's the peer evaluation as well. So like I've always done that, just with really Kevin Sumlin and Dana Holgerson, all of us, where you watch it together as a team, because special teams is where you don't get much credit, and that's where like a lot of the game is played. Like there's 30, it's like 33% of the game is played in that, in special teams, surprisingly. And so you can see if kids are taking plays off or not playing with the effort. And in this special teams meeting, there was a lot of ups and downs in this one. There's a lot of like guys being called out, or just watching the tape in general, just for like plays that we're not used to happening. It was the longest special teams meeting we've ever had, So we're not going to let it all slide. We're all going to address it and go on. And at the most part, like Seamus, you can't dwell on it. You got to move on. like I'm saying, you've done so much great things for this program, and you've been such a consistent person. You know, you had a bad game, and I know he apologized to me, and I'm like, you're fine. Like, I get it. Like, we got to move on. We got to correct it, and let's get back on track. So it's you know, there's been a lot of those conversations happening, especially on the special teams. But, you know, this is a long kind of rant, to be honest with you right here, Kev. But, like, you know, like I'm kind of at loss of words for a lot of the things that occurred in this game. And, you know, to eliminate catastrophic plays, man, like, those are simple execution. Like, your job as a punter is to punt the ball, you know. And, you know, you end up having 2 mistakes. We understand you're not trying to throw the game or anything of that nature. We just got to make that correction, move on. Like, you know, that threw everybody off in that game because he's always been consistent.
Is he still your punter this game? And Nunez did pretty well, but is Seamus still your guy?
We opened it up with competition as always. That's how we've done it with everything, you know. And Seamus had a good day kicking, and so did Nunez. So, you know, we'll see where that goes. You know, that's Coach Witt. You know, kind of you know, that's going to be his decision because he's so familiar with these guys. So.
Coach, another competition. You mentioned that the quarterback debate is going to be open this week. What's it looking like early on? Yeah,
and it's not to the extent of like the kicking situation. You know, like D-Vit will start the game, and you know, we've got to help him out. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of moving parts up front with the offensive line. We're beat up a little bit there, which, you know, that's how it's been the entire year. You know, so we just got to we're ready to play both of them. That's where it's at. You know, like right now where we're at in this part of the season, and you're not playing for a bowl game, and you know you appreciate everything that Fitz done, but you know there's also Brady's got a lot more of eligibility, so you know we plan on playing them both in certain moments. So I'd expect to see them both.
Coach, you mentioned that the defense played well enough to win the game. Who stood out to you looking at the film? Had a really good game.
Yeah, I thought Sione had a good game. I thought. You know, Revels always has a good game. You know, Savion had his moments too. It's fun seeing him make in the mix on a lot of those things. You know, I think in the back end, some of those guys have their moments doing really good things, and then some of them, you know, like they have their moments where they they miss a play or miss a tackle. But I thought the linebackers and the D line consistently played pretty well throughout the course of that game. Now we took them out of their game plan. You know, like they came out and they were trying to spread it out a little bit and play QB run game, and we were getting after it pretty good. And then all of a sudden they went to the triple option, which they caught us with a few things in the first half, and we made our adjustments. And I thought we did a good job at tackling, getting them down. And, you know, like that triple option is tough to defend now, especially when you don't see it on a daily basis. And I thought we did a good job making our corrections and going with it. You know, we had you know, really like you go out, we ended up DJ having that interception. All right, and then we ended up punting it back to them, and they ended up going. I think that's how it was. I can't remember. Like the DJ had the interception. I think we went down, either kicked a field goal or something like that. But like they responded with a 75-yard touchdown, and like it got down to a 3rd down and 13, and they just threw a little simple 5-yard out route that turned into a 19-yard gain. You know, so you know we had our ups and downs on defense and offense, but you know like I thought that linebacker core with Stringer played extremely well, Binky, Sione, and then the D-line was playing pretty well. You know, Nico went out with an injury in the second quarter, which was a thigh bruise. It was nothing severe. But, you know, like I thought the defense played good enough, man. They did.
A couple of the DBs are going to be missing the first half of the game. It's pretty loud.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk about the hits. You know, it is what it is, but D.C. Williams is out, and, of course, Torrey Leffridge is out for the first half. Who steps in that first half and help out?
Yeah, those guys are going to have to play a lot of plays, you know, in the first half of this next upcoming game. So, you know, you still got Chris Mills and Cordell Rogers at corner, and then you also got like Zion and Eric Sutton and Torrey Spears, and you got some moving parts of that, like of the back end that have played a lot. It's just they're going to have to sustain it for an entire half until Troy and DC come back. You know, like we'll have Rod Hockley around as well, and just kind of like we're thinking about travel maybe an extra more. The issue, you get into the 70s number right now. You can only travel with 70 on away games, and when you're kind of beat up front with the O line, and you got like Liam Dobson's not ready to roll, so you're adding more O linemen to the mix, and you got DBs, like you're gonna have to start cutting people somewhere else. So. you know, we're just going to have to tough it out, you know, for a half with the guys that we got who have played a lot of plays, you know, and they're comfortable doing it. You know, they're just not going to have the backups necessary until that second half hits.
You know, Tyler Vitt was kind of a surprise addition to the senior list right before the game on Saturday. You know, we've talked so much about him and the leadership he brings to this team. Can you talk a little bit about what a loss that is and what he means and what him graduating and all that what he's meant to your program?
Well, and we knew it where we're at with this point. You know, Tyler is such an impressive kid. I'm saying he graduated a year ago. You know, like he's now like almost done with his master's, and that shows you how like far ahead of it like he is, and he still has really 2 more years of eligibility if you think about it. You know, roughly, like, you know, it's really one, but like there'd be an argument for another one. But like he's got a lot of ball, like he's still got years of eligibility to play, and he's almost done with his masters. You know, so it just shows you what type of kid he is in general, man. You know, he's a team captain. Everybody respects him. Everybody loves him. He's just a really good person, good, bad, and different. You know, all the ups and downs that he's had in his career, the times starting, times not starting. You know, just he's always been consistent. He cheers his teammates on. You know, he's just overall just an impressive person. You know, and like I got asked this question at the radio show the other night: if there's one person on your team that you'd let marry your daughter, who would it be? And I said Tyler Vitt. You know, because he's just the epitome of everything. You know, I'm fortunate to sit in the QB room with him every single day. So you know his personality, you know what type of guy he is. He knows how to lock it in. You know, like he knows when there's the serious moments or the moments where he's got to study it. He's very intelligent. He knows what. You know, like you can throw things at him and he can operate it pretty quickly. He's not a rep guy. Like he's intelligent enough to understand you know what we're trying to accomplish. You know, and he's tough. Like you guys have watched him on some of those. Like there was that 3rd down and like 5, and he ducks his head and tries to just, you know, run people over, and like he's going to fight for every yard. And you know, just fortunate to be around him. We knew this time was going to come, you know, and like we kind of have already been preparing for it, you know, and we prepared for it before the season because, you know, obviously COVID, it's interesting. You know, you're playing a coastal team right now that's got stated 23 seniors that are starting on all 3 phases. So 10 on offense, 8 on defense, and 5 on special teams. You know, so like that's but like you look at it and there's super seniors, there's redshirt seniors, and there's seniors. So I don't even know what the eligibility of the seniors are and the redshirt seniors, if they got eligibility or not. Like, you know, it's just everything's different, but you got to prepare for him to leave, you know, and that's what we did with it. And we had those conversations, and, you know, where we got to it, he's going to enjoy these last 2 games as a Bobcat, and he'll leave this jersey and this university in a lot better place.
Coach, you know, you mentioned Grayson McCall might be coming back this week. How important a piece is he for what Coastal Carolina does?
Yeah, he's pretty impressive. You know, he can run the ball extremely well, but like what's more impressive to me is just his accuracy of how he throws the ball. You know, like the scheme is very unique. It's a spread option football, so like, you know, they're going to have a downhill running attack, you know, and then they're also going to be able to spit it on the perimeter, and he's also allowed to run on the perimeter, and he's also like they'll do QB draws and pass game on top of it, and he just manages it very well, you know. But you know, like I've been following his career now for a little bit, and you know, when you have all that crossover tape, you know, he's pretty impressive to watch because like what has he got, like 75% completion rate? Like, I think it's like, oh, that's unheard of, you know. So it shows you he's very efficient, very accurate. He knows what he's doing. He understands the offense. He's got complete control of it. So, you know, selfishly, I don't want him to play on Saturday, but you know, I hope he's all right with the injury and everything. I hope he can come back the next week. But regardless, man, the next quarterback in or whoever they play, they got a surrounding group of men that are pretty impressive. It's an overall impressive team, a very experienced team. Is really the word been used all day with these guys.
You know, defensively, what are you anticipating from the Chanticleers? You faced a lot of strong front sevens recently. Kind of the same deal going in this week.
Yeah, they're impressive up front. You know, they're you know, Coach Staggs does a really good job. Been you know, very impressed with you know, of him as a coach, and he gets those guys to play extremely hard, and they're very sound and they're tough. You know, and that's how you play defense. You know, and they got big body types. They've been playing together for a long time. You know, and the defensive front, I think, is where it's all at. They got talented guys in the back end. Don't get me wrong, but like that front, 7, they get after you. They'll pin their ears back. They'll go rush the quarterback. They're long, and they're very physical, man. They played a lot of games, so he does a good job at varying the looks in the back end. So he'll be in cover 3 and cover 4, and then he'll trap a corner here and there. He'll roll a safety, just to try to keep you on your toes, and he'll pop backers, pretty often. So he's always going to put a pressure on you, and then he's also going to try to confuse the quarterback with his reads. So they keep it pretty simple, but like they're very good and effective at what they do.
We were talking about it, 20 players on the list of seniors on Saturday. And you've talked about that they might increase the amount of scholarships you can use, anywhere from like 25 to 33. With so many guys leaving, do you think you'll have that much room? I know it's kind of early on, but are you anticipating an increase?
Yeah, we should have, just with the attrition of 20, and then, naturally, like with the signing classes, like, the availabilities of scholarships that we've had from previous years from the carryover. We should, I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's going to be up there with around 30 to 33, scholarship guys that we can sign. It's just that's what you're going to see in college football moving forward. Sarkisian said in his press conference yesterday that he's going to end up signing 33. You can easily see it. I think that's going to be the new number that you shoot for. I don't even think they'll do signing days anymore. Because like you can sign them and go. Like it's how it's kind of been. So with the COVID year, and we've had a ton of conversations in here, they still are trying to put like a Band-Aid on it all until we can kind of like level it all out. So you see with the COVID year and the eligibility freeze on top of the transfer portal with the eligibility, like immediate eligibility rule, you've got to be able to piece it together and make sure that like a team just doesn't get like the attrition doesn't happen and just ruin the entire roster. So it's but like you start talking to a lot of these coaches because everybody's still navigating their way through this whole deal. You talk to a lot of coaches in different leagues and all that, and everybody's still planning for the same. You're going to see a lot of teams sign 30 to 30, like probably 33 kids in general. Just and unless you're a senior heavy team, but like if you look at all the kids that are currently here, like the other thing too, it's like the super seniors. Do those count into your 85? Are they past your 85? Do you have to cut numbers from there? Like that's like with us, we didn't have really any super seniors, so it doesn't affect us. Like we're one of the younger teams, but like you look at like Coastal Carolina and App State and Louisiana, they've got I think like 10 to 15 on all three of those teams super seniors, and that's on top of the 85. So like they're operating with like 95 scholarships. So so then after this year, you've got to whittle it back down to 85. So like I don't know how like certain schools are, in their numbers, but like with us, like we're with the 20 seniors and we're still operating under the 85. We're gonna have plenty of room to sign as many kids as we can. That's just our situation. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, crazy times, no doubt.
It's like if you think about 33, there's only 85 scholarships. And you can sign 33 of them, and then you can also use the blue shirt rule too if you need it. And you can sign up to probably like 40 kids if you wanted to. That won't happen, but like I'm just saying, like there's potential that teams can actually do that.
Yeah, and you said the signing day might actually turn more into a signing period, which it actually already is. Do you really anticipate that signing days might just go to the wayside?
I think so. Where it's going, like there's always the luster of it all, like everyone's just all fired up, for the signing period and the signing days and, the events and the TV shows and, like the pull the hat out and all that stuff. And, like they'll still have that, but like you see it becoming more irrelevant, like because people are signing, like, with the kids not being like they have to make their decision by May 1st if they want to enter the transfer portal. There's going to be so many people signed in the summertime, so they should it's really like December 16th, like all the way to really the beginning of August. Yeah. So it's ever going now. It's just, so it's a good thing for us and where we're at, so there's a lot of availability, a lot of opportunity, a lot of moving parts, so you just got every day we meet 2 to 3 times a day just on roster management and recruiting. We've been doing it for the past year now, and it just keeps increasing.
I know you mentioned Liam Dobson might be out this game. Any other injuries?
Yeah, Dobson, Nico seemed good today, but besides the targeting guys, everybody else is relatively healthy right now.